Hello everyone, welcome to session 17 of LTEC 654, Programming Games and Simulations. Believe it or not, we've made it to the end of the semester. Congratulations. And so in this quick video, I just want to spend a couple of minutes recapping what we've accomplished this semester. Of course, LTEC 654 is an interdisciplinary class that has to do with computer programming, learning design, and game design. And we talked about at the beginning of the semester that we were studying these overlapping topics within the context of a college of education. So let's look at what we learned in each of these areas, starting with learning design. Well, in the beginning of the semester, we talked about the roles video games play in education. We learned that games can be seen as content, as bait, as assessment, or as architectures for engagement. We also learned that there are lots of different types of games that range from simple to complex, from non-social to social types of games. We also learned that playing games is like participating in ideological worlds. In other words, games provide dynamic worlds in a box. In addition, we learned that game designers can see games as vehicles for player expression. They make choices about what to highlight and what to strip away from the worlds of games. And importantly, we began to emphasize this idea that gameplay is an interaction between the game designer and the player. We also learned a bit about this idea as knowledge as performance. This notion that games are ideal laboratories for studying learning principles. In games, learners must learn to read the game in order to be successful, and they develop a professional vision for the affordances of the game world. From that sense, educators should view games as designed experiences. Now, in the realm of game design, we talked about the formal elements that actually form the structure of games. And we learned that without these formal elements, games actually cease to be games. In addition to the formal elements, we also learned about dramatic elements. These are the elements that engage players emotionally and cause them to invest in the outcome of a game. Beyond that, we also talked about game mechanics and playtesting, and how these are really essential aspects of creating good games that people want to invest time and energy playing. Of course, we spent the bulk of our time focused on computer programming using Godot. We learned about the building blocks of computer science, what we need to know and what we need to do, and how to configure those building blocks into organized, structured, interactive experiences. We started out with the basics, working with color rectangles and adjusting the properties of those rectangles in the inspector panel. From there, we learned about instantiating scenes and how we can change the size, position, and other properties of nodes to create dynamic and different visual experiences for players. In the third assignment, we were introduced to the concept of the scene tree, and that scenes have root nodes, and that the root node can have child nodes, and those children can also have child nodes. And we learned how important it is as programmers to understand where things are located and how to reference all of the scenes and nodes in a scene tree. In the Font Explorer assignment, we learned how to use dynamic fonts and how to interact with buttons to make an interactive experience for the user. In Le Petit Prince, our fifth assignment, we started emphasizing the importance of program control by emphasizing variables and if-else logic to control what happens when based on what the user is doing in the game. In the Peanut Gallery assignment, we learned how to accept text input from the user and how to keep track of a user score all the way until the end of a quiz. Then, in the Great Wide Open assignment, everyone got to practice putting the concepts and skills together that we've learned about in all of the previous assignments. And that set us up to focus on our version of the postmodern lemonade stand. For our first game development project, we created modern versions of this classic business simulation. And along the way, we learned about the challenges of building more complex projects. And of course, we had fun along the way, selling everything from hand sanitizer to coffee to blue sky to axes and swords to ice cream. In the end, we realized we were slowly being introduced to the foundational concepts of programming: algorithms, variables, control structures, modularity, and program development. Taking all of this together, I hope you feel like the class accomplished its learning objectives. I hope you feel a little bit more comfortable understanding and applying basic programming knowledge and strategy to the creation of games. I hope you feel like you can identify, analyze, and evaluate various mechanics and patterns present in existing games. I hope you can identify and analyze the technical specifications of existing games and simulations. And I hope you feel like you have a little bit more knowledge about how to produce original games and simulations for learning. Mahalo, everyone, for a great semester. I've been super impressed with your hard work, your perseverance, and your creativity. Thank you for making it such a rewarding class. I really enjoyed working with you all. And with that, I'll say goodbye and aloha. Mahalo.